This is continuation of reading of the book Deadly Medicine and Organized Crime: How Big Pharma has Corrupted Healthcare. This is Kadal Amudam from Chennai. Drugs for ADHD are dangerous. We don't know much about the long-term harms, but we do know that they can damage the heart in the same way as seen in the long-term cocaine addicts and lead to death, even in children. We also know that the ADHD drugs cause bipolar disorder in about 10% of the children, which is a serious condition. This is insane. How on earth did we get the point of accepting a system that labels one tenth of the US adult population as depressed at any one time? Are we people who do this to us normal, or should we invest a diagnosis for them? For example, compulsive disease mongering disorder. Little pleasure in doing things for 8 days out of 14 will happen for most people, no matter how positive, active, and outgoing they are. Trouble falling asleep is common. Many people overeat, otherwise, we didn't have an obesity epidemic. And people might move around more than usual if they succeed with something they barely wanted to achieve. It is really perverse. All of us will experience the death of a close relative, but in DSM 4, bereavement is a depressive disorder if it has lasted more than 2 weeks. Over the years, many new disorders have been included and existing disorders exploded. For example, in DSM 3, anxiety neurosis was split into 7 new disorders. Another change was the introduction of a symptom based approach for diagnosis, which has been criticized for creating diseases and for classifying normal life distress and sadness as a mental disease in need of drugs. A little experiment I did suggests that there is a diagnosis for each of us. We were 8 perfectly normal and successful people that tried the test of depression, ADHD, and mania, and none of us survived all the 3 tests. 2 had depression and 4 got definite, likely, or possibly ADHD. 7 of us suffered from mania. 1 needed immediate treatment, perhaps because she has written a book critical of the drug industry. 3 had moderate to severe mania, and 3 had milder degrees. It is not the least surprising that when therapists have been asked to use DSM criteria, a quarter of healthy people also get a psychiatric diagnosis. Bipolar illness in children rose 35-fold in 20 years in the United States. It is not only the loose criteria that cause this disorder, both SSRIs and ADHD drugs cause bipolar illness, and both types of drugs may lead to conversion of a depression or ADHD respectively into a bipolar disorder in 1 out of 10 young people. However, psychiatrists hail this as a better diagnosis, and they add insult to injury by saying that the drug unmasks the diagnosis. For every 28 elderly people treated for 1 year with an SSRI, there was 1 additional death compared to no treatment. Psychotropic drugs don't fix a chemical imbalance, they cause it, which is why it is so difficult to come off the drugs again. If taken for more than a few weeks, these drugs create the disease they were intended to cure. People may get terrible symptoms when they try to stop, both symptoms that resemble the disease and many others they have never experienced before. It is most unfortunate that almost all psychiatrists and the patients themselves interpret this as a sign that they still need the drug. They usually don't. They have become dependent. Just like a junkie is dependent on heroin or cocaine, and as the ADHD drugs and SSRIs amphetamine effects, we should view these drugs as narcotics on prescription and use them as little as possible. If patients have been on drugs for years, the tapering period may go up to a full year. Most psychiatrists choose lifelong treatment instead, which is a disaster for many reasons. It keeps the patient locked in the patient role, and the drugs change their personality so that they don't learn to cope with life's challenges. It also seems likely that not only antipsychotics but all the drugs can cause permanent brain damage and permanent personality changes. It is unhealthy to perturb normal brain function with drugs, whether they are legal or illegal. Psychotropic drugs can lead to violence, including murder. An analysis of adverse drug events submitted to FDA between 2004 and 2009 identified 1,937 cases of violence, 387 of which were homicide. Psychotropic drugs, including SSRIs, also increase the risk of traffic crashes. In the United States, people can be prescribed Nuvigil, which, as the name implies, makes you vigil again. It is approved for shift work disorder. I am not joking. The drug exists. People who get tired at night shifts now have a disorder. Like so many other psychotropic drugs, Nuvigil has effect like amphetamine and cocaine. So it is yet another narcotic on prescription. And as always, the drug may kill you. It can lead to life-threatening rash, fatal multi-organ failure, mania, delusions, hallucinations, and suicidal ideation, hospitalization, and a lot else. I will stick to my coffee, which won't harm me. The test to be used has been recommended by the WHO, but it's so poor that for every 1 lakh healthy people screened, there will be 36,000 false positive. Many of these 36,000 will get a prescription for an SSRI. The companies claimed that only 5% of the patients were sexually disturbed, which is 1/10 of the true occurrence. In a study designed to look at the problems sexual disturbances developed in 59% of 1022 patients who all got a normal sex life before they started using an antidepressant. The symptoms include decreased libido, delayed orgasm or ejaculation, no orgasm or ejaculation, and erectile dysfunction, and all at a high rate and with a low tolerance among 40% of the patients. Some patients yawned during orgasm, which isn't the most fantastic way of building up an intimate relationship. These problems have been overlooked because patients aren't likely to discuss them with their doctor. A drug with cocaine-like effect is marketed as a mood lifter. What is the difference to street pushers? Eli Lilly promoted Prozac illegally for several non-approved ailments, e.g. shyness, eating disorders, and low self-esteem, and concealed the increased risk of suicide and violence associated with the drug. In 2004, the FDA issued a warning that antidepressants can cause a cluster of activating or stimulating symptoms such as agitation, panic attacks, insomnia, and aggressiveness. Such effects were expected as fluoxetine is similar to cocaine in its effects on serotonin. In 1989, a man shot 8 people dead, wounded another 12, and then killed himself 1 month after he was placed in fluoxetine. Let me stop at this point of reading. We will continue the next remaining portion in the upcoming videos. This is Kadal Amudam from Chennai signing off. Thank you for watching. Kindly subscribe to the channel so that you can view more of this type of videos on upcoming days. Good day to you.